study before requesting.
Good morning. This is Today in Washington, Friday, August 9th. The nation awaits the swearing in at noon.
Hello, this is an obscure news channel. This is News Guy. Now, with many international conflicts rising, it brings us to wonder what conflicts were an issue back then. In America, one of the more infamous scandals in the U.S. was the Watergate hotel scandal involving President Nixon. Some narrator, if you will.
On June 17, 1972, the Watergate burglars broke into the Democratic Party's National Committee offices. 5 burglars crept into the Watergate hotel, attempting to break into the office. In the nick of time, guards noticed signs of the burglars and informed the police. The burglars seemed to have some relations with the White House, but Nixon had sworn the White House staff was not involved in August, resulting in a victory and the trust of his people. However, the break-in was an attempt to wiretap the Watergate hotel, but how long will this trust last? A man from the inside, Deep Throat, broke the news and exposed information about the cover-up, and eventually news of the secretly recorded tapes capable of the impeachment of Nixon spread. With Cox demanding the tapes, it led to the Saturday Night Massacre, where Nixon used his executive power to order Cox fired, as well as many people like him, and Justice Department officials resigned in protest. This obstruction of justice and impeachment inevitably forced Nixon to resign in disgrace.
Thank you, some narrator, for the summary of the scandal. I'm sure the viewers loved your dramatic display.
Thank you.
Now, we turn it over to a reporter, who is currently standing in front of the Watergate Hotel.
This is Reporter, and I'm outside of the hotel, rich with history in fact. But as said by the narrator, it's a significant figure in the scandal. But let's talk about Archibald Cox. Cox, a distinguished lawyer from New Jersey indeed, often defends the rights of civil rights activists. Viewers at home may know him by the Bell v. Maryland case and the Griffin v. Maryland case in 1964.
Defending civil rights activists, with a reputation like that, I sure would hate to go up against him in a trial. Now, it sounds like Archibald Cox definitely played an important role, but how and why did Archibald Cox partake in this scandal?
I'm glad you asked. Cox was selected to be the head of the Hotel Watergate Special Prosecution Force. He received assurances that he would have independence even if it led to the government. With this freedom, he began his first steps. His first step was to organize the force and overview the events that transpired in the scandal. Fascinating.
So one of the first things Cox did was organize the force. Sounds like he was a good leader. Now, remember that Alexander Butterfield disclosed to the Special Senate Committee that Nixon had been secretly taping conversations in the presidential offices. What was Cox's response?
That is a great question, news guy. After the disclosure of Butterfield, Cox immediately requested 8 tapes of specific conversations. Luckily, Cox responded, and it was a no. After back and forth arguing between the White House and the court, U.S. Court Judge Sirica ordered Nixon to release the tapes to him on August 28th. And on October 12th, the U.S. Court Appeals upheld Sirica's actions.
An interesting display. An argument between the White House and the court reminds me of something that happened somewhat recently. Sounds like Nixon was in trouble. Seems like he would be looking for a compromise.
That's correct. Nixon tried asking if Senator John Stennis would listen to the tapes and provide a written, edited version of the tapes to the Senate committee. He also asked that Cox make no further attempts to retrieve the tapes. Cox declined this amazing proposal, resulting in the White House first ordering Attorney General Elliot Richardson and then Deputy Attorney General Williams to fire Cox, but both quit in protest. Finally, Solicitor General Robert Bork was ordered to fire Cox, and he reluctantly did so. On October 20th, 1973, Cox was one of the many who were fired, and this became known as the Saturday Night Massacre.
Cox was definitely a brave man, but he sure was determined to get those tapes. It seems like it scared Mr. President a little. But that aside, do you think Cox did the right thing?
Honestly, news guy, considering what an invasion of privacy Nixon committed, I think Cox did the right thing in bringing them to justice.
I agree, reporter. Cox sure was determined to get those tapes from Nixon. Now, I want to thank everyone for their time. This was an obscure news channel at 7, a totally unbiased channel.